Hi, folks, and welcome back to the Alone Time Thoughts podcast with Sam. I'm Sam, and I want to start off by saying thank you to everybody who's been watching the videos. I know a lot of it is friends and family, but I do believe we have some outsiders that are not friends and family who have at least clicked and taken a little look. So hopefully you've enjoyed. Hopefully it's something that you find interesting and you'll keep coming back. And as always, if there's something that you'd like me to discuss or something maybe you think I shouldn't be discussing, please do let me know. But we're going to try to keep this interesting, try to keep it moving. I want to improve with every video, as I mentioned before. I was told the second video was definitely less cringy than the first video, so I'm happy to hear that. Improvement is important, and I hope to continue doing that. Having said that, let's discuss what happened this weekend. Let's start with the NBA. The NBA Finals are over. Game 7, the Oklahoma City Thunder went on to beat the Pacers, even though I predicted that the Pacers would come out on top. I thought the coaching of the Pacers would just be enough for them to overcome, but unfortunately, Tyrese Halliburton did suffer an injury. He tore his Achilles, and he'll probably miss most of next season as well, if not all of next season. But once he went down, the Pacers, who really it was a back and forth game. It was very competitive, Game 7. But once Tyrese Halliburton went down with injury, the Pacers kind of started losing their footing a little bit, and eventually it turned into a double-digit win. SGA did great, finished with I believe 29 points. Just had a really, really good game, great effort, and congratulations to them, well deserved. It's great to see a 7-game series, great to see a fun series. Nobody wants to see a blowout. Nobody wants to see a sweep or a five game series. That's just no fun. The 7-game series, or at least the 6-game series, is always what we want as fans. So yeah, now it's the off season. We'll see who gets better. Who's going to come back strong next year. A lot of really good teams, especially in the West, but the East also has some. Not as many, but again, with the off season, lots of moves are going to be made, lots of signings, lots of trades, and we'll see how the draft goes. I mean, Cooper Flag is going to be amazing, but again, it's going to the Mavericks out west, so we'll see how that goes. Me personally, I'm a Brooklyn Nets fan. I'm from Brooklyn, so that's my team. My second team are the Phoenix Suns. That's my West Coast team, or Western Conference team. And speaking of the Suns, they just traded away Kevin Durant, to the Houston Rockets. I know they got Jalen Green. They got a first rounder this year and 5 second rounders. We'll see if that's enough. Like I said, the way the NBA is built, I don't know if they'll be able to compete with that roster. We'll see what else they do in the offseason. But Devin Booker and Jalen Green, pretty strong backcourt. It'll give him a chance. I don't know if that puts him over the top. We'll see what else they're able to do. As far as the Rockets are concerned, I think KD is an amazing player. I just don't think KD is a winner. So to me, that move, it makes Houston better, but I just don't. Again, I don't know if it puts them into title contention just because I don't think KD's a winner. Every chance he's had to actually lead the team, he's failed. Until he got to a team where he's not necessarily the number one superstar or not the main superstar, he just hasn't done it. He hasn't been able to win. He'll take a team far. He'll be able to put a team on his shoulders, but he just doesn't seem like he can finish the deal if he is the main man. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. I mean, that Rockets team is young, really good. They obviously were really good this past year. Kind of choked in the playoffs, and I think Jalen Green was one of the reasons they lost in the playoffs. So maybe that's why they traded him. They thought KD puts him over the hump, and it's possible. Again, other moves will be made. We'll see. We'll see how the rest of the offseason shapes up for them. But just from my personal opinion, I'm just not somebody who believes KD can do it. I don't think he can finish it up, but we'll see. And the off season starts now. we'll get to the draft soon, free agency, all that should be interesting. Which actually leaves us, now that there's no basketball, hockey's over. That leaves us one major sport, and that's baseball. That's how you know it's the summer. There's just baseball left in terms of the major sports. I know there's soccer going on, horse racing, tennis, golf. Of course, those sports are always kind of year round, except maybe horse racing. I don't think horse racing is year round. Possibly though. Don't know enough to really speak on it. But with baseball season here and only baseball season, we know that we're getting closer to football season, which is probably about a month away from really kicking into gear. I'm guessing the Hall of Fame game, which is the first preseason game, is probably 5, maybe 6 weeks at most away, and that's when it's time for football, which I'm excited for. That's going to be when we start. Well, we actually start scheduling our fantasy drafts, which I told you guys I do baseball fantasy, football fantasy. We'll start scheduling our drafts around the All Star break for baseball, which is, I believe, 2, maybe 3 weeks. So that'll be soon. Um, I run I run the baseball league. I'm in one baseball fantasy league. I use baseball to kind of fill the gap when there's no football. It kind of gets me from basically January until August. It gets me there quicker because I have something to concentrate on in terms of fantasy, in terms of sports that actually keeps me occupied, keeps me busy. And that's fantasy baseball. Like I said, we do a keeper dynasty league. It's head to head, 12 keepers, and then we have an 18-man draft. And I'm actually kicking butt. I'm currently tied for first in record, second in points, very close in points. It's really just me and this other guy. Everybody else is really, really behind in points, um, which is, record's important. Points are the tiebreaker. So we're excited about that. It's a league we've been doing for about 13 years now. I have won 2 titles there, one in the 2020 COVID shortened season. I never actually got credit for that. People tell me, because it's short, it's COVID, and that was my first title. After many years of doing the league, that doesn't actually count, so I don't actually get credit for that. But then I went and followed that up in 23 and won my official title. I still say I have two. I don't really care what they say, but let's just say, worst case, I have one and a half. But yeah, I won in 23. Last year was a dump year. Um, you know, this league, the way it's designed, it's very hard to win and continue competing, especially if you give up a lot of draft capital um, to try to compete. I actually made the finals in 22 and 23. 22 I lost, 23 I won. So I made a few finals in these 13 years, won 2 titles. And this year it looks like we're off and running again. I had a great draft. I stocked up on a lot of picks last year, fixed my core up a little. Like I said, we keep 12. I always try to make my core as strong as possible going into the draft. And having a lot of draft capital to me makes a difference. And, it's showing. Of course, trades, free agents, all that has also helped. But I feel my team is stacked. We'll see. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. Still a long way to go in baseball. One of the things I actually kind of hate about baseball is how long it is. It's just in games a little boring, especially if you're not in the stadium. If I'm in the stadium, I enjoy it way more. But I just find it hard to watch on TV. I'm a Yankee fan. But unless it's really the World Series, I don't find myself watching too much baseball on actual TV. Maybe some highlights, but I wouldn't be able to sit through a game at home. But yeah, so excited about that. I also run, like I said, I run several fantasy football leagues, 2 dynasty leagues, 2 redrafts. In total, I'm in anywhere usually from 7 to 8 fantasy football leagues. I have 3 dynasties. One is a PPR. That's the one I don't run. I run two, however, and I'm actually coming off a title in one of them, back-to-back titles in that one actually. So that one's awesome. And the the only thing that I can say I'm not a fan of that league, that I coming off back-to-back titles, is the champ is forced to basically hire a cameo. So the pressure of that cameo being good, hiring the right person, making sure that person, you know, gives us a good hurrah speech or whatever it may be. It's a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure. I did pretty good last year. We got actually Jim Moore of the Saints. I don't know if you guys, whoever's watching knows too much about football, but Jim Moore is the playoffs guy. So yeah, I was able to get him on a cameo. He did that for us, which was great. The whole league loved it. But new year, new pressure. So if you have any suggestions, thoughts on who I might look into this year, if they're available, please, suggest a way, so I can make it easier on myself and my nerves. Um, so yeah, that's basically it in terms of sports. In terms of what I wanted to discuss, looking forward to the football drafts. Looking forward to staying competitive in baseball. The one thing I learned through the years is that if you stop paying attention to baseball and start concentrating on football, you will fail in baseball. So probably, I don't know, maybe it was 2020, maybe a little earlier. The first few years, maybe even half a decade of doing baseball fantasy, I would just kind of tune out in the middle of August, maybe even early August, and just stop paying attention to baseball no matter how my teams were doing. I would just move on to football, and everything, would go downhill, as you obviously understand, based on the fact that I didn't win anything until 2020. And the league's been around for like 13 years, maybe more. So, yeah, that's that. Very excited about football season, and we'll see how it goes. Now moving on. I do want to talk to you guys about what's going on here in America, what's just going on in the world with this Iran Israel war, which we are now a part of, even though we weren't supposed to be a part of. I want to let you guys know that we have attacked, we dropped a few bombs on Iran to try to blow away their nuclear facilities, try to help Israel. And, I, I know a lot of people are in the know, but some people aren't. I actually found out on Saturday, a buddy of mine absolutely has no idea what's going on. Outside of World Star, and outside of, I guess, sports, he just does not see, hear, or know anything, which, I think it might be a good thing. Um, it's a real peaceful way of living, I guess, because you don't have to worry about anything else around you. I don't know how interesting that makes you, but then again, I don't know how interesting I am. So, that's not, I shouldn't be judging, is basically what I'm saying. But we did drop some bombs in Iran, and this is after our president told us, they have 2 weeks to negotiate. He gave them 24 hours, maybe, something like that. And then, dropped them, went back to telling them surrender. He kept saying, we annihilated them, they're done. And they kept, they didn't play like they were done. They kept firing, kept threatening. And today they actually shot a few missiles at the U.S. Army base in Qatar. Fortunately, those were intercepted, no casualties. I don't think any of them landed. And from the reporting, whatever you can believe, Iran had told Qatar that they're going to do this, so they gave them a fair warning, just to avoid any casualties, or whatever their intentions were. They seemed good. I know they're neighbors. I don't think Iran's trying to fight with any Muslim nations around them, so I would imagine that had something to do with it. And then, after those were shut down, a few hours later, President Trump came out and said, "Hey, there's now going to be a ceasefire." Called it a 12-day war. Israel and Iran are gonna stop fighting. And then maybe 30 minutes later, again, there was a report from the Iranian ministry saying they never agreed to any ceasefire. I don't know what to believe. I don't know what's true, what's not. What I do know is this is the one thing I did not want to happen. Because again, now after our rockets, our bombs landed, there was threats of sleeper cells being activated in America, around the world, to destroy Israel, to destroy the West. And this is why war is not good. This is why conflict's not good. It's summertime. We should be able to be outside, enjoy ourselves, not have to look over our shoulders, not have to worry if today, there's going to be an attack. Especially, I'm in New York City. We have a lot of packed places. We are number one target for anybody who hates America, basically. And now there's going to be crowds. There's crowds all the time, but especially now in the summer, there's just crowds that are going to be all over the place. Easy targets if people really want to do bad. And this is the reason why we shouldn't have gotten involved. But it is what it is. I just hope that somehow, some way going forward, we can all start to kind of appreciate each other, kind of, just be honest with each other. One of the things and it's not just this weekend, but I see in general, is there's a lot of people who like to speak on politics, do these podcasts, just a lot of news outlets, that do segments or, discuss whatever's going on. There's a lot of finger pointing, a lot of lying, a lot of BS and nonsense, and it's just everybody's trying to pit everybody against each other. I just don't know what that is, what the point of that is. I know that we live in a country where we have classes, upper class, middle class, but so it will be impossible to ever get everybody on the same page. But I think we should be able to at least come to some kind of middle ground where everybody is kind of comfortable, at least telling the truth and not hating each other, not pointing fingers. I think that should be the most minimal goal of anybody who lives in this country. I think we need to get to that point. We need to get back to where we were. 9/11, when everybody was nice and everybody helped each other out and everybody cared for their neighbor. We've really gotten away from that. And the one thing I want to do, you even have Republicans going against Republicans, Democrats going against Democrats. I mean, it's ridiculous. I I hate where we are. I hate where we're headed. And a lot of it is just false info, just people trying to get the gotcha. Just nonsense. A lot of nonsense. And I want to show you an example of that. It's both fake news and parties, the same party, going at each other's throat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you my screen here. Alright. Let's see. Alright, there it is. And now, I want you to listen to this guy. I'm going to stop it, just give you a few thoughts while he's talking. Or, I'll pause it. I won't talk over him. But this is an example of what I was just talking about. This is Mark Levin on Fox News earlier today. Today's Monday. Talking about, the bombings and the reactions, etc.
Rethink what you're doing. It's dangerous and it's irresponsible. Then we have the Democrats. No sooner had the mission been finished and accomplished with 100% perfection. They're calling for the impeachment of Donald Trump. They're claiming that he violated the Constitution of the United States, which they care very much about, as you must know.
So, let me first say that there has been actually nobody confirming that the mission's 100% successful. There's rumors that Iran knew the bombings were coming and they moved some of the uranium, There's been reportings that some of these bombs that are supposed to be able to cluster through their defenses did not get through. So we don't actually know how successful the mission was. There's been very little to no reporting on the success rate. The second thing is, yeah, they've been calling for the impeachment of Donald Trump for several months now. We're in June. They've been calling for his impeachment since probably February, maybe a little late, a little after that. Ever since he started not listening to the Supreme Court, once he started, not listening to the governors of states and not listening to state, letting states decide if they want to have the National Guard there. Just, the impeachment calls have been coming for a long time for many different things. I actually haven't heard about it for this. I've heard people, crying, saying, hey, the Senate should at least know about it or, have some kind of input. But honestly, I haven't heard anybody calling for impeachment of him for this particular thing. So, don't know how true that is. It's just, what is this guy talking about? It's just, I understand the audience he's talking to. And again, I'm not trying to insult anybody here, but, I know, I have a chat I've mentioned before, and, we have a Fox guy in there, who literally gives us all the talking points and the hot takes that Fox has. And until you show him otherwise, until you make him understand otherwise, this is his gospel. This is his Bible. Whatever Fox is saying, that must be it. So I understand this guy is talking to his audience, but that's one of the problems, right? We can't have people who have this much influence giving the wrong info. It just can't happen.
They're calling for the impeachment of Donald Trump. They're claiming that he violated the Constitution of the United States, which they care very much about, as you must know. And so
I also don't know what that means. Democrats don't care for the Constitution. I think anybody in politics, either side, centrists, Republicans, lefties, righties, I think, there's always cases of people who are trying to circumvent the Constitution. But as far as I know, the Democrats are not known to be Constitution breakers. But, again, please correct me if I'm wrong on that. So that was a weird statement to me.
There they are, the reprobates, the miscreants, the malcontents, starting with AOC and Bernie Sanders. Two people who hate the Constitution and hate the Republic, or they wouldn't be Marxist Islamists, would they? So they say the president.
They're Islamists now? Again, just saying nonsense, right? Just making stuff up. Like, they might be Marxists. I don't know if they're Islamists, though. It's crazy.
Violated the War Powers Act, which was passed in 1973, and my guest, John, you and I are going to discuss at some length. It was violated. He must be impeached. He's a dictator. Our military just pulled off something that is astonishing. Just saved the world, the entire world. And by the way, that includes the United States.
Yeah, so I'm going to stop it there. So, again, I'm not saying that Donald Trump's a dictator. Would he like to be? Probably. He acts like he probably would like to be. No, I'm not calling him a dictator. He's not there yet. He might get there. He might not. I don't know if that's his goal. But, I wouldn't call him a dictator. That's just a little far. Now, in terms of saving the world, now, we know from Tulsi Gabbard, who's the head of intelligence, I believe, that that Iran was not close to having any weapon grade uranium. It wasn't ready. They weren't ready to have the bomb, but not even close. She said this was in March, maybe even April, and now suddenly we've saved the world. I mean, let's just take a look at what we're dealing with here, right? Netanyahu has been saying that Iran is going to have a bomb ready since at least 95. They're a week away, a month away, 3 months away, since at least 95. He has said many, many times that Iran is going to have a bomb ready. And, that's 95. We're 30 years in. Now, today was the time. Especially when U.S. intelligence is saying we don't have it. So to say we saved the world, to make any kind of claims like that is just ridiculous. It's just not. It's just not the truth. I can't see how it is. And I could be proven wrong in the future. Something will come out and say, hey, they really were ready to just destroy us. But at the same time, who's Iran's number one enemy? It's Israel. You know, why why is it a guarantee that if we do not get involved, that if Iran did drop a nuke or did attack with something more than what they're attacking with now, which is just random rockets and drones that don't seem to be doing damage. They're doing damage, of course, but not too much damage. Um, but if we didn't get involved, you know, Iran might not even care about us. Again, that's just my theory. I don't know if they would or not, but it's just crazy to say that this mission saved the world, saved America. Again, a lot of BS, a lot of nonsense, just feeding the people who watch him, who watch I guess Fox, a lot of lies. It seems like it's just rhetoric, and that's not what we need. It's great to love America, love your country. I love America. I love my country, but I don't want to. I don't want to lie. I don't want to, hear things that are just make no sense or aren't true. Like that doesn't help anybody. But anyway, here's the same guy, um, calling a Republican, somebody who he's on the same side with, a shameless nitwit, because she doesn't know anyone who's been a victim of crime or killed by Iran. Yeah, I mean, neither do I really. Here in America, all types of people cause crime, kill people, do bad things. I don't know why Iran has done anything bad to us. They really haven't. Um, it's just weird, and again, it's the name calling, um, putting people down for no reason. It's just very strange to me. It doesn't seem like the way we as adults should be acting. We should do way better. But here we are. This is the world we live in. Finger pointing, calling names, just lying, falsifying, and exaggerating. And we have to get away from that. Like I watch, like I said, a lot of people who do podcasts, left, right, center. It doesn't matter. Most of these people are all guilty of doing the same thing. Just fake information, finger pointing, name calling. It just doesn't get you anywhere. Let's have a normal conversation. If we agree, we agree. If we can change one or the other's mind, great. If not, it's okay. It's okay not to be on the same page on everything, But I just don't think we should hate each other. I don't think we should call each other names. That's just crazy to me. Anyway, moving on. As you guys know, I've mentioned I'd like to provide you with something interesting at the end of the podcast. And today's interesting article comes from Pinal County, which I believe is in Arizona, Tucson, Arizona. And here you have the sheriff they were doing a drug bust, and 6 months in the making. And when they arrived to do the bust, there's this is fun. Uh, there were people who thought it was an ICE raid, and what do we do these days? We protest. So it's a pop-up ICE protest. They thought these were ICE agents, just trying to send somebody to El Salvador or somewhere else without due process. Which again, I'm all for due process, in the right times. This was not the right time. I mean, they're doing narcotics search. Look at this. Seized 5 million fentanyl pills, 32 pounds cocaine, 22 pounds meth, firearms. So this was an actual bust of a real criminal who's destroying our communities. And ICE protest. That's what we have. And again, I'm all about protesting. Everybody has the right to protest here in this country, peaceful protest, of course. But we have to be smarter. This could have turned out terribly, and I will link this, of course, in the description. But yeah, it's like you could have got. What if there's a shootout? You're gonna get shot in the crossfire. They can, you might alert the suspect to police being outside. You might be taken hostage. I mean, so many things can go wrong. And what do? This is what we do. This is just crazy world we live in. We have to be smarter. We have to make better decisions. This is not a good decision. This was not a smart decision. Pop up ICE protest for a criminal drug bust that's 6 months in the making. And I'm not sure if this actually goes for every state or in every county, but if you're unsure, you can call your local police station and ask them if there's any operations going on at a certain area, and I believe they'll tell you, just to keep you safe and keep them safe. Not sure if that's true or not, but at least worth looking into. Anyway, that is it for me. My song of the day is gonna be, if you hold on a second here, it's gonna be Larry June, and the song is called Black Man. It's Larry June and Cardo Got Wings. It's a smooth song. I like a lot of Larry June songs. Not his whole catalog. It's very few artists, especially these days, that I like the entire catalog or even a good amount of the catalog. But I do like certain songs, and I did say I was going to share them with you. That's the song today. Again, I'll link it. Hope you enjoyed this. Hope I'm getting better, more interesting. And as always, feedback is appreciated, and I do appreciate you spending this time with me. Take care.